Hey, TechLit folks. Hi, how are you? Hope you had your good first week. Happy, well, it's probably Monday by the time you're watching this, but I'm recording it on Sunday. So, on Friday, you guys all did a nice job of researching your careers and you filled out this Google form right here. Where is it? There it is. You filled out this Google form and you let me know what career you're interested in doing your research on. Totally cool. Thank you. Almost all of you finished that. There's a few of you that didn't yet. I'll be following up with you guys individually. So good job on that. So here's the project. So you researched what you want to do. Now we're going to start the research. Now that we'll start putting the presentation together. So this document, which will all be linked in Google Classroom for you, has got everything you need to know. Okay, on page 1 is what you guys did on Friday. So you went through and you figured out what career you want to do and you submitted that form to me. And then I gave you guys some feedback on Classroom, so that's cool. Part 2, now you're going to start building your slides. So in Classroom, you will have a blank set of slides that look like this. They're really boring. It's your job to make them cooler. Okay, but all the slides are all broken out there. Those are just a template, so I fully expect you that you're going to change them around and do things that you need to make it work for you. Okay, so let's go through the project. What you're going to do is you're going to research your specific career and fill out all this information on your slides. What I've got it broken down is all the slides you need to do. So you've got a total of 10 slides-ish, plus or minus. You might have more, you might have less, depending on how things sort of shake out. I just realized you don't need this part. I can get rid of that. There we go. So what you're going to do is you're going to go through and choose. Once you've got your career chosen, which most of you have got, you'll start putting the research together. So on slide 1, you'll have your name and your chosen career. Slide 2, tell me why. In short snippets of information. Remember, this is a presentation, so we don't want paragraphs of information. You want bullet points and little bits of information that when you present to me, and we'll be doing that virtually, that you'll be able to expand upon and talk more about. So I don't expect paragraphs on your presentation. I expect little bits of information, bullet points of information that you can expand upon and talk a little bit more of, right? So what inspired you? Why do you want to be that doctor, lawyer, dancer, athlete, whatever the case may be? What's your inspiration? Why is that interesting to you? In slide 3, you're going to tell me more about the job. So for example, the job description, what are the tasks of that job? What does that person do on a daily basis? What are the hours and working locations? You know, like as a teacher, I work in a classroom and I work basically 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. But then on nights and weekends, I'm also doing grading and that sort of thing. That's way different than my dad, who worked on cars. He worked in a body shop and fixing cars and much more manual, heavy labor and that sort of thing. What are the working locations? So where do you work? I know one of you wants to be a truck driver, so that's much different than, say, a doctor or a nurse or mechanic or somebody along those lines, or an engineer who might be working in different situations. So what's your working locations? And what are those pros and cons of the job? What are some positives of the job and what are some negatives of the job? Not every job is perfect, so there are some pros and cons. You might want to put that in like a little positive negative chart, like here's the positives, here's the negatives, cool little chart, that sort of thing. Now this is a lot of information to get on one slide, so if this takes 2 or 3 slides, totally fine, that's fine. So if it needs to go beyond that, that's great. Don't try to put too much information on one slide, so if it has to spill onto the next one, just make a new slide and fix that accordingly. Slide 4, what is your educational path? So how do you get to that job? Does your job require that you go to get a college degree, or can you start right out of the workforce or out of the high school, or do you need to get a technical college degree? Let's say you're going to be a plumber. Maybe that's an apprenticeship program, right? So what does that process look like? So what are some of the degrees that you need, if you need one? What's the method of entry, which basically means that how do you get that job? Do you do college, apprenticeship, and then start the work, or do you go right into workforce, those sort of things? I know one of you wants to be a chef. Do you start out as like a chef's assistant before you become a chef? And then what are those suggested qualifications? So qualifications might be able to lift certain things, be able to stand on your feet, be able to handle stress, having certain technology understandings and how to do things, be really good at math or science, whatever the case may be. You do need to choose some high school courses that you need to be able to choose. So there's a link here that's going to take you to the high school classes. So these are all the classes that are being offered at the high school next year. So you'll go through here and say, hey, wow, my job requires me to take Spanish and no different language, so I better take some Spanish classes. Or I'm going to be in engineering, well, I better be taking some of these math or engineering classes and such. So go through here, it's all broken down, and find those classes that you think that you might need. When in doubt, ask me, I'll help you out. The employment, how many jobs are going to be available in the future? The salary, how much money are you going to make? The career path, what does it look like to get from where you are when you graduate high school to where you want to be in your career? What's that path? First I'll start out as this, then I'll do this, and then 5 years from then I'll be able to do and have that job I want. Slide 8, and I know some of you already actually talked about this, like, hey, I want to be a nurse, but if that doesn't work out, I'm going to do this instead. That's your plan B. So we always have to have a plan B that basically says if the first one doesn't work out, which is possible, then what else could I be still happy at doing and want to make a good living at, right? So that would be a second job that you're going to put together some real short information, like 1 or 2 slides total of some information. Slide 9, your conclusion and summary, which basically means why are you excited about the job, and what's the first thing you're going to do to get on that path. And slide 10, your works cited page using MLA format. You know how to do this because I taught you how to do that with your research paper. That was all done using easybib.com or Cite This For Me. Let me show you where you're going to find this information. So again, we talked about the Occupational Outlook Handbook, and you've also got Zello. So Mrs. Broughton's got a video here that you can watch that will show you how to get into Zello and find all that information. I know you worked with her a lot already this year, so there's information on Zello where you can find. But for the most part, everything you're going to need is right in the Occupational Outlook Handbook. So again, let's say that I'm going to be a mechanic. And make sure you choose the correct one. There's lots of different types here. Even like with teachers, there's all sorts of different types of teachers or different types of doctors or different types of cooks and stuff like that. All of the information you need is going to be found in these tabs. So, for example, what do they do? Where do they work? What's that career path look like, and how do you become one? What licenses or certifications do you need to have? What does the pay look like, right? You can physically put this chart right in there if you want. Just copy and paste it in there. That's totally fine. Or if you find a different chart online, that's cool too. Remember to cite your sources. Your job outlook, how many jobs are going to be available? So if we look right here, in the year 2028, there'll be a projected of 763,000 jobs in the United States. That is down 6,400 jobs from 2018. So it's actually a decline in the number of jobs projected, but still a lot of jobs available, right? So you can put those numbers in there. Maybe that would look good in a chart. You've got some similar occupations if you want to dig into that. But for the most part, everything you're going to need is going to be across these tabs in the Occupational Outlook Handbook. It's a good resource for you to work with, okay? So you'll cite this source and any other sources you get. I do want you to be able to put in some related images in all of your slides. So let's say that you're going to go to mechanic, and then you go to Google Images, right? So here's some really nice images of mechanics doing their job and that sort of thing that you can put into your slides so you have related images on your slides, okay? So that's all good information to go through and do. Let me show you some examples of what your presentation might look like when you're done. So if you scroll down, again, back on here, you've got your slides you're working through. Here's how you graded in the points per slide, okay? Plus you got some presentation points. The last page has actually got previous year's classes projects. Please know that these were done differently. In previous years, we used a program called Powtoon, which made them a little bit more animated. The downside is that your iPads don't work on Powtoon, so we'll be using Google Slides, and that will actually be able to allow me to help you log in remotely and complete your project. But you can at least go through here and look at what they've did and say, oh, that's cool. I see how that's okay. That's great. So go ahead and get inspired from some of these. That's cool. Here is a presentation that some of my past students have done. So she was Allison Bartley, who's now a high school student, wanted to be a registered nurse. Really nice title slide there. She's got her job description, some working conditions, some classes that she needs to take, things like that. So you can say that this is a really nice layout of how the job works, right? And that's nicely organized and stuff. I have a student here that also wants to be a mechanic and work on high-end cars, high-performance automotive technician. So he's got the logo of a school that he might be going to, the courses of study, those fees and those costs and stuff like that. So when you think about laying out your slides, make sure that you make them look pretty. The slides that I've given you are really simple, and there's nothing that attractive here. But let's say that I take this image. I'm going to put it onto here. Let me show you a pro tip. I'm going to move me up to the corner here so you can see. When you've got some image on here and you've got some text down there, you can click on the Explore tab down here, and it will automatically suggest, let me move me again, some different layouts for you, right? So now all of a sudden I could go like, this, and it automatically creates a cool layout for you. Boom, done. All I did was just choose their template and their styles, or I could say, this one's nice. Okay? So those are options for you to go through and do. I'm gonna sneeze. Good. Bless me. And if that's something that you want to do to make your slides a little bit better, use this Explore tab down below me. Okay? I'm gonna undo that so it's not on there. Good. So that's your job. This is going to be due in 2 weeks. I'm going to be checking in on you twice a week, if not more. So I'll be able to see your slides, and I'm going to be able to hop on and give you some comments and feedback. If you have any questions, I want you to reach out to me via email. We can do a virtual chat, and I can walk you through and work on your slides together to help you out. So if you have any questions, please let me know, and I'll be happy to help you out through that process. But everything you need to know is on this document, right? You've got your links for Occupational Log Handbook and Zello. I'll leave it with a nice little video from Mrs. Broughton. You've got the layout of your slides and what needs to be on each of your slides. You've got how I'm going to be grading it, making sure that you're using bullet points versus big paragraphs, and it looks nice and attractive, no spelling errors. You've got your sources cited, and then some examples of past work, okay? So that's how that's all going to work. We will be presenting this individually. So you'll be meeting with me on a Google Meet, on a Hangout, and we will go through and you'll present it to me virtually. So as we get closer to that project, once you're closer to done, I'll be setting up those appointments with you that we can do that directly from your iPad. So you can see me and I can see you. We'll present it. There's no other big audience that you need to freak out about and such. Should be easy peasy and lemon squeezy. Okay? So that's it. Have a good Sunday. Start working on this on Monday, and I'll track down those few people that did not get me their career choice yet. So, bye. Have a good day. Wash your hands. Wash your hands.